Things are really heating up this week, leading up to my day in court. It begins in Vancouver's Supreme Court, 800 Smythe Street, Vancouver, on Thursday, July the 11th at 9:30 in the morning, and continues again on Friday at 9:30. Mr. Hansman seems to think that I want to criticize SOGI 123 and at the same time not be accused of being a homophobe and a bigot. Well, I'm not a homophobe because you see, the definition of a homophobe is someone who's afraid of homosexuals. But if I was afraid of Glen Hansman, I would not be standing up to his bullying tactics. This isn't about accepting gay people. I have friends and loved ones who are gay. LGBTQ plus persons are in our society and schools, and SOGI 123 is an attempt to deal with them fairly. But I have serious problems with part of the program. It is when ideologues like Hansman purport to represent all LGBTQ plus persons. They are a very diverse group. And then, to prevent debate, he seeks to destroy others who disagree with him. Now, Hansman has used a brand new BC law that only came into effect in BC in March of this year. It's commonly known as Anti-SLAPP legislation, but it's Bill 32, also known as the Protection of Public Participation Act, which was intended to protect the exercise of free speech on matters of public interest by individuals who did not have the financial resources to stand up against lawsuits launched by big corporations. This legislation was intended to protect the little guys. Imagine a nature lover who lives off the land in a shack in the forest. He's a tree hugger and he wants to protect the spotted owls. He publicly and truthfully accuses the big forestry companies of irreparable damage to the environment. The big company silences him when their team of lawyers threaten him with civil action. This is kind of the citizen that anti-SLAPP legislation was designed to protect. Needless to say, environmentalists saw this as very helpful to their cause. That might be helpful in my case. But Mr. Hansman has turned this legislation on its head. He is the one with the unlimited financial resources to fight a battle in court. And he's using this new law in BC to prevent me from exercising my duty as a trustee to approve learning resources, which is required in the BC School Act, my right to dissent, and my right to free speech. And he is claiming in his 600-page affidavit that Neufeld has prevented his freedom of speech to tell people that I am unfit for public office. This is the first case in British Columbia for Bill 32, and the judge can only rely on precedents that were set in Ontario, where it's been in place for 4 years. It's an unfair attempt to exhaust all my legal defense fund, stall my case almost indefinitely, and bring me financial ruin. This was not why Bill 32 was enacted. Why I am willing to be hard on the idea behind SOGI 123, I have no fear or malice towards any individual who experiences gender dysphoria or same-sex attraction. But I do think there will be some serious, disastrous, unintended effects that are being ignored. Children in public schools should not be used for social experiment with a controversial new ideology, that of gender fluidity. My lawyer, Paul Jaffe, will bring up the opinions of psychology professor Jordan Peterson, respected journalist Barbara Kay, and transgender activist Jen Smith. I've touched base with several trustees around BC and even across Canada who are facing the same kind of bullying as I have. With good intentions, SOGI 123 has been promoted as a new way to combat bullying by promoting the inclusion of LGBTQ plus persons. But its proponents refuse to look at the side effects and have turned out to be the biggest bullies I have ever encountered. If I lose this battle due to lack of resources, there will be many people with experience and integrity who will be disqualified from running for public office anywhere in Canada. Anyone who knows me or who has paid the slightest bit of attention to what I have actually said knows perfectly well that I do not hate LGBTQ plus children. I have nothing but compassion and concern for children with identity confusion and who are not comfortable in their own bodies. But I do not believe that school-age children are old enough to be so sure of their identity that they should start transitioning by cross-dressing, taking puberty blockers, hormones, and end up lopping off perfectly good body parts. Just like the eating disorders of a few years ago and the goth fad, the diagnosis of gender dysphoria is increasing at an alarming rate due to social contagion. Most concerning is that teachers can now refer children for gender dysphoria treatment without parental approval or even knowledge. The reason this method of therapy is so popular is that the experts cannot agree on any other less intrusive type of treatment or therapy that effectively reduces the misery experienced by gender dysphoric persons. If I do win a settlement in this case, I would like to donate it to a foundation dedicated to researching less intrusive ways of assisting children who suffer from gender dysphoria. My lawyer and I were prepared for a defamation trial in Chilliwack with a jury in December of this year. But this counter application by Hansman has created a lot of extra work and has exhausted my financial resources. I've put several thousand of my own savings into this fight. I need your help. This is not just a religious issue, but if you are a person of faith, you can pray. You can talk to your friends and share what you know about the information. You can come to the Vancouver Law Court July 11th and 12th to show me support. Financially, there are 3 ways to support me. I have an online crowdfunding source at GoFundMe, and the link is there, GoFundMe, Barry Neufeld Legal Fund. This has generated almost $40,000 since it began 11 months ago. You can send money by direct email transfer to Trustee Neufeld, all one word, at gmail.com. Or you can mail a check to Barry Neufeld with the memo Legal Fund to this address: Trustee Neufeld, P.O. Box 3002, Cultus Lake, BC, V2R 5H6. And thank you very much for listening to this.